Everybody loves candy, am I right? It's just so sweet and tasty, sometimes crunchy, munchy, sour, and awesome. Even diabetics have found a way to get their sweets on without any real repercussions. But surely just a little bit of sugar can't be that bad, right? Well, I'm sorry to say that you are wrong. Some candies can be very dangerous. Some can even outright kill you. From candies that can get lodged in your throat to some laced with poison, here are 10 banned candies that are extremely dangerous. Number 10. Trolley Roadkill Gummy Candy. Yes, they literally made gummy candies to look like roadkill. The candy featured gummies in the shape of squash snakes, chickens, and squirrels, complete with tire tracks too. Appetizing. Of course, this brilliant product was beset upon by outrage and a formal protest was filed against Kraft Foods, the mastermind behind this brilliant idea, by the New Jersey Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. The New Jersey SPCA claimed that the roadkill candy sent a wrong message to children and that it's okay to harm animals. It took particular offense to the advertisement, which featured animated animals fearing for their lives with a pair of headlights rapidly approaching them. Although the case didn't specify it, some also feared that the candies that show blatant cruelty to animals could breed a generation of serial killers. Normally I'm against these arguments because they generally involve video games, comic books, and TV, but I'm actually kind of on the side of them on this one. These candies might not be deadly, but they may lead to a lifestyle choice that probably is. Eating roadkill carries a lot of health risks that, if you're unlucky, may lead to death. Number 9. Kinder Eggs. Milk chocolate eggs on the outside with a surprise toy waiting for you on the inside. But what's so bad about that? Well, according to the US FDA, a lot of things are wrong with it. Thus, it is banned in the United States, as is most fun things. The ban doesn't extend to just the Kinder Egg specifically. They actually banned the sale of all food products containing embedded, non-nutritive objects some 80 years ago. And unfortunately, Kinder Eggs are the textbook example of that kind of food product. The rationale for the ban is that the toy inside, which is encased in a capsule, might be swallowed accidentally and become a choking hazard. This actually does make a little bit of sense, since there have been many cases in Europe of kids accidentally choking on one of these capsules, some of which ended up in fatalities, so the FDA might actually be right about banning this one. To stop this from happening, the manufacturers punched holes at both ends of the capsule. Though granted, this doesn't really work since the holes are still blocked by the toy inside. Despite it being banned, people have still attempted to smuggle it into the United States. According to an article from the Wall Street Journal, as of 2018, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection had seized over 160,000 Kinder Surprise eggs from travelers' baggage. They've also seized them from international mail shipments since 2011. Number 8. Haribo Sugar-Free Gummy Bears. In early 2014, the world learned how much harm a handful of gummy bears could really do. That's when the internet caught on to the Amazon reviews for Haribo's sugar-free gummy bears, which told harrowing tales of how these sweets ruined the colons of many people. Lycocin, a sugar substitute, was found to be the culprit of the gummy bear's bodily onslaught. While it was considered safe to eat, lycocin consists mainly of maltitol, a well-known sugar alcohol that is almost as sweet as sugar. The main problem is that it's not fully digestible, it just kind of ferments in the gut. If eaten in excess, side effects can include increased flatulence, loose stools, and diarrhea. According to studies, even just 40 grams of maltitol can cause gastrointestinal responses. To put that in perspective, you can get 40 grams of the stuff just by eating 15 of these little gummy bears. Due to the media attention and the very poor consumer reviews, Haribo has since discontinued this particularly dangerous bear. Number 7. Smarties, also known as Rockets. While there isn't a carpet ban on these sweets in the US, certain schools have elected to keep these sweets out of their cafeterias. But why though? I personally remember Smarties as being omnipresent in my candy bag while I was trick-or-treating back in the day, and kids always had them all the time at school. I mean, I never really thought that these things would have the potential of killing me someday. Apparently though, I didn't have a wild imagination, or I was fortunately unaware of how drugs were consumed. Kids have apparently discovered a novel way of consuming these sweets. It involves crushing the rockets into a fine powder, lining up the fine powder on a smooth surface, then snorting them up your nose. Oh man, we are really dumb as kids, I'll be honest. It is pretty ridiculous, and it really sounds like something a bored kid would do. But in all seriousness, it has health risks like any other powder going up your nose. This can cause asthma attacks, long-term breathing problems, and although rare, nasal maggots. Number 6. Candy cigarettes. I, for one, loved these when I was a kid. I even collected a few boxes. For the majority of the 20th century, candy cigarettes were readily available. This allowed us kids to mimic cigarette-smoking adults, because let's be honest here, we all did that. In 2009, that mostly changed when the FDA banned flavored cigarettes from American shelves. This ban didn't apply to the candy itself, just to actual cigarettes flavored like fruit or candy. But it did encourage many American stores, including Walmart, to take the candy off the shelves. A key factor in Walmart's policy change was a 2007 study published in Preventative Medicine, which showed a statistical link between candy cigarettes and smoking real ones. Something tells me you don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. The study found that 22% of people who currently smoked had consumed candy cigarettes as a child, while of those who didn't currently smoke, only 14% used candy cigarettes. The study's leader further emphasized the results by saying, the continued existence of these products helps promote smoking as a culturally or socially acceptable activity. Number 5. The Lollipipe. Same principle as the Hippie Sippy, but aimed towards a different set of people. The Lollipipe is a fully functional pipe that's made entirely out of candy. Originally meant as a gag gift for smokers, it wasn't long for people to start using them to smoke, other stuff. At first, it was only available online. The novelty caught on and was soon available on store shelves everywhere. Marijuana smokers loved it, stating that it added to the experience of smoking weed. Parents, however, ooh boy, they weren't happy. The package clearly shows that you need to be 18 or above to purchase it, but that's precisely why fake IDs were invented. So it was only a matter of time before kids were able to grab hold of it, much to the concern of their parents. Although not deadly in itself, the dilemma here is that kids might develop the wrong impression on pipe smoking and drug use. Clearly not the kind of the thing that we want to teach our kids. So a decision was made to ban the product outright in some US states like Indiana, but it is still legal to purchase in others. Number 4. Chinese medicine candy. For God knows what reason, Chinese candy manufacturers suddenly manufactured and sold candies to look like pills packaged in a bottle. These kind of bottles actually wouldn't look out of place at a pharmacy. Just to be clear, the manufacturers never really claimed that their products actually worked though. They were even marketed as the perfect April Fool's Day gift. The thing is, the CFDA did not find it remotely funny. They were immediately removed from the market, and the general public was warned to stay away from these sweets. Number 3. Lucas Muecas. Pretty sure I mispronounced that. Lucas is a candy that hails from Mexico. It comes in a powder and is available in a variety of flavors, including, get this, hot chili. Now, we just talked about rockets being banned from schools because of kids having the habit of crushing them, snorting them, and, going crazy. Lucas made things easier for them by skipping the crushing part. However, the reason why it was banned was for a totally different reason. Lucas has always been rumored to contain lead, which in high concentrations is definitely poisonous. The manufacturers, instead of denying that they were adding lead to their products, stated that they are currently phasing the lead out of their candies. Due to the FDA not being able to find any definitive source stating it actually has been phased out, erring on the side of caution is the best way to go. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick is a candy that isn't only toxic by name, but also by nature. What candy is it? Well, find out next with number 2. Toxic Waste Nuclear Sludge Chew Bar. I've never heard a more name appropriate for the Fallout games than this. Here's something that definitely does what it says on the tin. It came as little surprise to many when a candy called Toxic Waste Nuclear Sludge Chew Bars was recalled in 2011 for being, yes, toxic. Fortunately, it wasn't contaminated by toxic nuclear waste, but what was found was nearly, if not as deadly. Tests by the California Department of Public Health indicated that many of the bars had elevated levels of lead, which is approximately 0.24 parts per million, more than double the standard US FDA tolerance of 1 parts per million. Of course, lead poisoning can be fatal, especially in pregnant women and children under 6 years old. As for the culprit, Indianapolis' Candy Dynamics, who are still in business by the way, didn't actually manufacture the candy itself. It was actually made in Pakistan, a country where health and safety standards are more of a loose guideline rather than a strict rule. Luckily, no one reported becoming sick from eating the candy. Instead of waiting for a massive lawsuit, Candy Dynamics smartly pulled out the products themselves. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Number 1. The Hippie Sippy. For a food item to be considered dangerous, it doesn't have to directly kill you or make you ill. Sometimes it's enough if said food item becomes your gateway to more dangerous and even deadly substances, such as the case with the Hippie Sippy, a Japanese-made candy made in the 60s during the height of the hippie movement in the US. Unscrupulous businessmen immediately imported it into the US and was soon available in local candy stores, easily within the reach of millions of highly impressionable kids, much to the anger of parents nationwide. Let me explain why. You see, Hippie Sippy candles look suspiciously like syringes, obviously a play on the rampant use of recreational drugs at the time. The idea was kids would suck tiny multicolored chocolate balls through a thin straw that looked like a needle. Angry parents quickly launched complaints and it was promptly removed from store shelves. You can still find the empty packages though, and also the controversial buttons that came along with it saying things like "We sell happiness" and "I'll try anything." Have you ever actually eaten any of these candies? Let us know down below in the comments. Also make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos. As always, thank you all for watching and I'll see you all next time. Later everybody!